Well, we're hearing crickets. I can't see anything. There's a couple of waves that we're watching, but really things are pretty hostile in the Atlantic basin right now for any sort of tropical system to try to develop. But let's delve into what we're actually looking at. It's been helpful. We had Brian Norcross on this morning, and with no development expected over the next 7 days, there always are questions. You know, we've got a little bit of a wave trying to head off the coast of Africa, so that has our attention. It is very quiet in the Caribbean. In fact, when we talk about El Niño seasons, which, right, we're in this El Niño phase when we consider how the temperatures are warming near the equatorial Pacific, that often means that we even can see droughts start to set up throughout the Caribbean. So factor one, hostile upper level winds. As far as the cyclone goes, we do not like strong winds that are tearing these systems apart, but that's what the Caribbean has right now. And even outside of the Caribbean, we've got some shear through the Gulf. We have shear north of the Bahamas. We have shear through the main development region. The MDR is a zone that we often do watch to perhaps bring about some of these storms in August. It's when we start seeing that big, long journey that these tropical cyclones take, but just doesn't happen during El Niño seasons, or at least it's a lot tougher for that to happen because of how the wind blows. And as those waters warm, that creates a differential, less of a differential through the atmosphere. And what that ultimately does is bring over some winds that really can shred these systems apart through the Atlantic. So that's one. Another one, Saharan dust. Saharan dust is early in the season always a player. And not always does it last into August and September, but we're looking at the dust tracker for the Atlantic through the first week of August. And yeah, it looks like another healthy plume is going to head over, perhaps could move into the Caribbean. So that too leads to sort of an inhibitor, a mitigator of tropical cyclone development. Then finally, we have water temperatures, which honestly, from a season where we're just always showing how these water temperatures are unbelievably warm, there are some anomalously warm waters, notably in the Gulf and parts of the northern and northwestern Caribbean. But through the main development region, this zone where we watch in August, things are near or even slightly below average. When we look at the main development region in the tropical Atlantic, what we call it, it's that yellow box that you see here. Things are close to average, near where they should be, but a notable drop in those temperatures this year, just over the past couple of weeks. So not a huge deal, but certainly when we look at anything that would be unusual for a season like we saw back in 2023, that signal is just not there for the waters. We do have a weak signal when it comes to what might form through the first 12 days of the month. So we're sitting at the 3rd of August already. What are we looking at here? There is a chance that we could have a tropical wave try to organize, try to coalesce into a system, but it just doesn't look all that promising. In fact, when we look at our tropical threat probability, we've talked about this quite a bit. The number of ensemble members that we have among the Google, among the ensembles of the Euro, as well as the GFS, all of those, not showing the GFS here, but there just are not a lot of L's that are being painted on the map. And this is even beyond. A lot of times you'll have systems start to highlight or signal the Atlantic coming alive, and you might have, sort of overdone solutions, but not even the Google AI is biting anything. There is one member out of dozens showing that we might have something with Google. And so I would say we lean into this idea that, it doesn't look like anything's going to happen. But the fact of the matter is we are always slow to wake up. The C-name storm actually comes on average today, August 3rd, and Cristobal is the next name on the list, and then we don't get that D-name storm until August 15th. So things do start to ramp up. It's around that time, the 15th of August, that we enter peak season. So we'll see how it plays out, but certainly the first couple of weeks of August, Marissa, look pretty quiet.